I've got to ask you, how do you feel?
I'm sort of gutted, to be honest, but we did our best. It was just a good question.
He's quick in the end, that's for sure, right?
I didn't make it up, so I've got some big earrings.
Right. However, I've got to take away the £50,000. Did advertise to Liz, Mike, and of course your family, Gary. But I've got to tell you, lads, Mike and Gary have been caught. View the chase is well and truly over. Mr. Boy, played well there.
Thank you. That was really tricky because I virtually didn't know the answer to any of them. I was working out the clues to the questions like Mono. I missed, as you correctly spotted, yours comes on. So well played, Morris. And you can look at it like this, Mike. At least you went for it.
Yeah.
So well played, both of you, but especially you, Mike. So absolutely well played, both of you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, there you are. The piece takes up my 2 for 20 seconds remaining. It's a shame that Liz is going to have to wait for her earrings. We'll see you next time on the James. Goodbye.
Now, it's been another day of a good, honest spring lonely across the country. Ahead of it with the northerly temperatures again well to around 20 degrees, but in the cold southerly across parts of Canterbury, the foothills, we're looking at temperatures only 3, 4, 5 degrees with a cold rain. And still risks some snow, just some pretty low levels overnight for some southern areas. Thunderstorms as well. That gets us into the weekend. Then we see some high pressure. Details coming up right now. It's 6 o'clock. Tireless advocate for workers and underdogs. We look back at the battles fought by union leader Helen Kelly as tributes are offered from all sectors of society.
Guilty or not guilty of murder, the jury found the trial of a man accused of killing a New Zealand woman during a Tinder date.
He was like an octopus. It was like he had 6 arms.
They're pure fiction and they're outright lies.
Donald Trump lashes out again after war women accuse her of sexual assault, and Michelle Obama goes on the attack.
Yes, they're blowing in the wind. The wind blows in the Nobel Prize for Bob Dylan as he's compared to the great poets of history.
Good evening. A champion of the underdog has been silenced. Selfless, determined, passionate, but some of the words describing longtime union activist Helen Kelly.
The former head of the Council of Trade Unions died at her home in Wellington after a long battle with lung cancer. She was 52. Brian Boswell reports.
The moment Helen Kelly knew New Zealand's health and safety laws were broken.
If we didn't have fear, you wouldn't even give you pipe food. You wouldn't even, it would long been out of the news.
The families of the 29 men killed in the Tyke River mine, they're giving thankful to the union leader who fought for change in local industries, forged lifelong friendships.
Yeah, we try to say thank you for the post because it's nothing, mate. Nothing. It makes you feel like it's going to be all right.
Labour leader Andrew Little spent years on the picket line with her.
The thing about Helen was, not only was she fearless, she was totally selfless. This wasn't about who, it was about the people who she was speaking for.
It will always have been this woman who would put herself right out here for the most vulnerable communities, the workers.
The now head of the Council of Trade Unions says Helen Kelly never slowed down.
I've called her often and she will have been standing on a picket line with me or with somebody else sort of 5 a.m. in the morning or earlier, all through the week and the weekends.
Respected across the political divide, John Key tweeting, he's saddened to hear about Helen Kelly's passing, while the former Prime Minister described her as a long-time advocate for workers' rights, many hoping that's not forgotten.
I think it does leaves an obligation on the rest of us to carry that work on, to see them through, and to live out the legacy that is Helen Kelly.
Thousands, many of those who Helen Kelly helped, are expected to travel to Wellington to pay tribute. The city's there offering to host a public memorial.
We just love Helen, mate. She's an amazing Kiwi. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, it's almost like being in the presence of an angel.
Her family and her thousands of mates now preparing to say their final goodbyes. Brian Boswell, One News.
And Ryan has more on Helen Kelly's high-profile career later in the news hour.
New Zealander Dame Lowell Goddard is at the centre of fresh controversy over her time heading a high-profile sex abuse inquiry in the UK. The former High Court judge is vigorously denying allegations she made derogatory remarks and is threatening legal action against the UK paper that published them. Political reporter Andrea Barnes says.
The judge from New Zealand was named as the new chair of an independent inquiry.
Dame Lowell Goddard took the job no one wanted, investigating shocking allegations about a paedophile ring at Westminster in the 1980s.
It feels like a huge honour, but also it's a very big commitment.
Now, Dame Lowell is facing claims that she made derogatory remarks during her time in charge of the troubled sex abuse inquiry. She is strongly denying the allegations and is taking advice from top London lawyers Carter Ruck. In a statement, she said, "I confirm my absolute rejection of this attack. I'm confident that in New Zealand, my known reputation from my work over many years will provide its own refutation of these falsities." Dame Lowell was the third person to head up the controversial inquiry. British officials wanted someone unconnected to the British aristocracy.
Crucially, she will be as removed as possible from the organisations and institutions that might become the focus of the inquiry.
She had a nearly 40-year career that included becoming the first woman to chair the Independent Police Conduct Authority. Her $640,000 a year salary came with perks worth $200,000 and raised eyebrows in Britain.
It will be an absolute mess task.
In the end, it proved too great a task, and 16 months later she stepped down, creating another media storm. At the time, Dame Lowell's reasons for resigning weren't made public, but in today's statement, she says she explained them to Home Secretary Amber Rudd and